The Big 89 WLS at NatBco everywhere on social media. Follow Natalie Compton, coolest travel reporter ever. That's all. Great information all the time in the Washington Post and online everywhere. Now, she even knows about being bloated when you get off the airplane. I don't.
It is a feeling when you get off the plane. You always feel that way.
I always feel like I need a shower. I know that.
And you have to unpop your ears.
First off, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and may you be less bloated in 2024.
Thanks, Natalie.
Andrea, have you met Natalie? She's been on with us, right?
You are the best, Natalie. I've talked to you before, and I always love your travel advice.
I know, it's so funny to do this all the time because I'm like, these are my friends, but we've never met in person. So someday.
No, but the good news is she's getting married, and I don't want to blow the surprise, but I'm the flower girl.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's wanted to go with something that would be kind of a fun thing for the folks attending the wedding.
Natalie's just finding out about this now, obviously.
No, we've discussed it. All right, so why do we feel bloated when we get off the airplane?
So there are actually a bunch of different reasons that totally surprised me. I think for starters, everyone thinks, oh, it's probably the plane pressure, and that's true. When you're changing that pressure going up into the air inside of your intestines and GI situation expands, so you're going to get some bloat there. One of the weirder ones to me, maybe not weird to people, but stress. When you're feeling stressed about going to the airport, catching your flight, that can have an impact on releasing cortisol in your body. That makes you retain more water. You're going to feel more puffy, bloated that way. You can also have GI issues that cause bloating and constipation. Good morning, everybody. This is
right.
PSP. Also, just things like staying sedentary. Your digestive system isn't going to be working the same way, and that's going to cause some bloat. And then, of course, having a different diet. You might be eating horrific airport food, and things that don't
which
have
all
a lot of
are
fiber.
Incredibly high in salt.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a constellation of issues that don't do you any favors. So you're going to get off the plane feeling like a little balloon, and it should resolve itself later. But if it doesn't, you have to go to the doctor because something else is wrong with you.
Yeah, is that what they say, hydrate before you get on the plane?
Yeah, they
drink a lot of water.
Things that are no fun, like limit your coffee, limit your alcohol, drink a ton of water, don't eat that, airport McDonald's, things like bring your own snacks that have a lot of fiber, like oatmeal and berries or hummus and vegetables, things that are going to make your body feel good already and not add to the problem and keep your digestive system working. But yes, water was actually the number one tip, was just chug before you go to the airport, chug the night before, drink water on the plane, and then drink a lot of water after, because that plane cabin is so dehydrating itself that you need that either way, bloat or no bloat.
But if you bring hummus on an airplane, I feel you should be arrested. That to me is like bringing tuna.
Or like a hard-boiled egg.
You open a lid on hummus, and not all hummus, but you open the lid on hummus, you can smell it on planes that are flying by.
I think if you don't get a garlicky version.
That's what I'm saying.
Plain.
Yeah, go classic, and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Natalie, how do you feel about, I always laugh when I see people walking around the airport with their neck pillows on them, but then of course I get on the plane and I'm like, God, I wish I had a good one. Not a big one, but you did a great story. There were 4 travel pillows that were tested, and some don't even look like pillows. It just looks like a little comfortable neck blanket.
What'd you find out, Dr. Compton?
Well, after a highly scientific review of 4 neck pillows, plus 4 that I had tested years in the past, my favorite is one called the Turtle, although if you look it up, they have something against vowels. It's just TRTL. This one is it looks almost like a neck brace, but it's a wrap. It has this kind of piece of bendable plastic that fits against the side of your neck and your head that almost acts as a spring against you, so you don't have that neck craning effect that hurts your neck and wakes you up. Then a felt piece of cloth wraps around that and your neck, so it supports you. It's very soft. And it looks a little more subtle than, like you said, walking around the airport with that puffy neck pillow dangling around. It fits really small into your carry-on bag, not taking up a bunch of space like some of the other ones I tested. So the turtle is really a dream come true for the person looking to nap on the plane. I slept for an hour in the back of an Uber. I didn't even mean to. I was like, oh, I have a long trip to take to the airport. I passed out. I slept like a baby in my little turtle. So
it looks like a turtleneck.
Yeah,
that's probably
she
why.
woke up, her purse was gone, the car was idling.
Yeah.
So here's my question, though. You just held up Andre. You just held up a photo.
Yeah, this is the turtle.
And
this is Natalie with the turtle.
That's the turtle, and you sleeping with the turtle. Now, let me just say, if you haven't seen Natalie, she's lovely, but you do look like you just had dental surgery with the angle that we had here. So this is not an aesthetic thing. This is a comfort thing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, no one looks cool in a neck pillow, no matter the option. But when you are on a back-breaking flight in economy, you need anything that will provide you just the sliver of comfort that you deserve, and a neck pillow can really deliver that. There are options that look much weirder. So the turtle, to me, is the best of, all evils. And
Google it up. TRTL is the acronym, the shorty for the neck pillow. Andrea, question.
No, you wanted to talk about a Margaritaville cruise. This sounds fun.
Well, here's the thing. This makes me feel kind of bad because, I don't know Buffett as well as friends know Buffett. I knew him a little bit, and I knew how crazy he was to have his name on things that worked. And this sounds like a disaster.
No, this sounds fun.
I'm hearing mixed reviews.
All right. What is Natalie
So tell
saying?
the truth. What do we know?
Honestly, mixed reviews is kind of my review.
Okay.
It is interesting for people who don't know that Jimmy Buffett left behind a more than $1 billion travel and lifestyle enterprise. He has restaurants, he has resorts, he has living communities in beachy areas where people now can live Margaritaville all year long. And Margaritaville at Sea is one of the latest developments in that portfolio. They now own 2 ships. One just was recently purchased, but the first ship they got is very old. It's not a new sparkling ship that they commissioned from Italy. It is an old...
It's the SS
It's like
Minnow.
a pirate ship.
Yeah, the skipper and Gilligan run it.
That would be a better... If it had some, old-timey charm, that would be great. But this is just this is a dated ship compared to, the latest to hit the seas is Icon of the Seas. That's the world's largest cruise ship. My colleague is going on. I went on Margaritaville at Sea, which is one of the cheapest cruises you can possibly take. The catch is it's very Spirit Airlines in that the initial price might appear low, but they get you with a lot of taxes and fees along the way. Alcohol is not included, obviously. They charge you for things like gratuity and fuel and random fees along the way that you're like, oh, this added up a little more than I thought. So my overall takeaway was if you just want to have a sunny beach vacation, I wouldn't go the Margaritaville at Sea route. I would just go to Mexico yourself and get a hotel or Airbnb. I think you could do it for a comparable price. But if you do that, you're not promised something that kind of plagued us during our 2-night cruise, which was we were very confused about the drinks packages and ended up getting this. It looks like a blender, but it felt like a little sippy cup for adults that we just had to keep getting our drinks in. And so we were walking around with this trophy / blender cup with no blender in it. And I was like, oh, I'm a baby on a ship drinking pina colada out of a giant vessel.
Wow.
You don't get that in Mexico, and that's really a shame.
No.
At NatBeco. Stick around for a second. More from Natalie Compton, best travel writer, period, and Washington Post and social media and everywhere else. And happens to be a great guest and nice enough to keep helping us out on the show. Stand by. First question of the day today. What would you never do with your partner alone? This comes out of not reality TV, I guess true crime TV. But don't go scuba diving alone with your partner. Don't go hiking with your partner, because if it comes to a life and death situation, it comes down to who runs faster.
Right. Okay, I thought of one that's not murderous.
What's that?
Clean. Because, I'm going to use the air quotes for this, I would do it wrong.
Well, but you make a good point. Putting an IKEA thing together, that's a great way to have a fight.
Yeah.
So, Natalie, your fiance, can you think of anything you would never do alone with him because it would be trouble?
Ooh, honestly, the cleaning one is a point of contention. But when you mention IKEA furniture, that's like his Lego set for an adult. He will just put on an audiobook and do that for people and put people's furniture together. So
What
I
a
don't have to do
sicko.
that.
What a sick man.
And you're like, go have fun.
Yeah, you have fun, honey. I thought that'd be a great reality show. You take a husband and a wife and you give them a random IKEA thing and you just shoot real-time video of them putting it together and let the fight begin. All right, continuing with travel talk with at Nat B. Co., Natalie Compton from the Washington Post. Should we ship our bags?
The promise and allure of luggage shipping is great if you're talking about a really busy travel period like Thanksgiving or Christmas, especially if you're going to be traveling with a bunch of gifts. It's also a great sell if you are somebody who needs extra help at the airport. If you're going to be with a wheelchair or a bunch of kids or you're having a hurt arm, shipping your stuff ahead of time is not insanely more expensive. It's definitely more expensive, but if you factor in how much airlines charge for bag fees these days, it's actually not a huge leap for the value. But if you're an everyday traveler who doesn't mind taking a carry-on bag on a plane or spending that extra XYZ minutes to check a bag, it's probably not worth the hassle of just doing those extra couple steps.
Natalie, has TSA eased restrictions for carry-ons as far as hairspray, tweezers? Can we bring more things on now?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Oh, really?
All right. I say this because I have a quick trip next weekend and I want to carry on, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to.
Oh, I saw plenty of people on my recent trips get, stuff pulled out of their bags and thrown away, and there's arguments over, but the whole container isn't full. It's less than those ounces, and they're still pretty strict. But it all depends on what TSA agent you get, and there are some people who are going to be more lenient and say, that's about close enough, or we have a massive line. Do we need to get through this faster? Is that extra jam jar going to bring the plane down? So it really depends. People brag all the time about the stuff that they sneak through, and whether or not they're actually sneaking it or if the TSA agent was being lenient, we'll never know. But I would say err on the side of you're not going to get something that's too large through, and either put it in a check bag or ship it if you really need it.
As promised before, a brief list of some of the things TSA confiscated last year.
Yeah.
A cat was found on an X-ray machine at Norfolk International.
Wait, a live cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Boston, security officials noticed a suspicious-looking candle. It turned out to be weed confiscated. They had it under mashed potatoes that they packed in a plastic container. I think they should have been taken in just for bringing mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Like instant.
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes mashed potatoes do get confiscated, even though we're like, that's a solid. But they say no. It just depends on the officer, but it can go either way.
I have a friend who used to carry a mini mace on her keychain. When she'd walk along, she constantly got that through.
Yeah.
She'd throw it in her backpack, and it just would go right through.
They're like, a little hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because it's very pungent.
Yeah.
In Alaska, at the Anchorage airport, they found a 3.5-inch knife inside a passenger's prosthetic foot. I probably forgot it was there.
People try to sneak guns inside chickens and knives inside peanut butter.
Oh no!
Guns inside chickens. All right. Texter, this is Eduardo. I recently visited Rio. I visited Petropolis to see Christ the Redeemer, and constantly heard questions about visa required travel, not the credit card travel visas. Mexico, Canada, South America. Where are we going to need visas and when?
Yeah, Brazil's talking about a new visa for us, but, as far as Mexico and Canada go, you can pretty much, take your passport and have a nice time. And a lot of countries are trying to figure out, should we be increasing or implementing not a visa, but just a tourist tax or a tourist fee. We see destinations like Venice struggling under the weight of over-tourism, and they're like, will a fee stop maybe a massive tour group from coming just so they don't have to spend that extra money, or at least put some money back into infrastructure? But wherever you're going, it's a good idea to check ahead of time to see, do I need a visa for that place? I once very painfully showed up to the airport thinking my Indian visa was still not expired yet, and I thought, I'm getting on the plane to go to India right now, and instead was left crying in the terminal being like, I didn't get my visa. So wherever you think you're going, even if you're a travel reporter, double check ahead of time, because you don't want to be crying in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when people are crying in the airport, it's something I try to avoid. No, I always go over and check and make sure they're okay. Are you kidding? Please. At NatBCo is where you need to go to follow her, all of her social media, and find out whatever she knows, and she's more than willing to share with us. You want to just preview something coming up that you're working on?
Well, I think something that is exciting that we don't know if it's going to be a story yet, so this is just really some hot insider intel, is that we are expecting flights to Mexico to go down in price this year. Tulum, the very trendy beach destination on the Caribbean coast, just opened an airport. We know that the International Airline Authority has raised the safety rating of Mexican airlines, which means that Mexico can add more flights of their own companies into the U.S. and between the two countries. So we're expecting, with more flights available, prices should go down. So we're calling it the Year of Mexico, and you should definitely check out some, winter getaway if you haven't thought of that already, or maybe something even at the end of the year to treat yourself when it starts to get cold again, or go any time of the year. It's the most wonderful country that sometimes Americans are hesitant to go to because they see scary things on the news, but I promise you it is one of the most special places to eat and drink and meet people and shop, and couldn't endorse it more.
Well, so says the woman who's obviously running a kidnapping cartel.
No.
Last word, Andrea, then we'll let her go.
I just want to say thanks for all that you do. And I know we're up against the clock, but Europe in the spring, looking nice?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Spring over summer, 100%.
In Italy, especially.
Yeah, well, that's where you're going.
That's right.
Andrea will be leading a group of listeners to southern Italy come this spring. Natalie, great stuff. Good luck with the continued wedding plans, and tell your goofy fiance to stop putting together IKEA stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
See you
Bye.
later.
Thanks, Natalie.